What's going on, guys? Welcome back to All Sports Best. I have a very special guest on here today. We are in Albuquerque at ABA, another professional baseball player, stud pitcher out of Cleveland High School.
Yes, sir.
Originally. So Dayne Pengelly, and I said that correctly.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
heck yeah. Awesome. Dayne, thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
So, Dayne, you started out in New Mexico, obviously New Mexico guy. Mm-hmm. You are now with the Blue Jays organization. I kind of let's walk it through a little bit. So you grew up in Rio Rancho, and it makes me, I always wonder how, your community, your area, how it shapes you. How did Rio Rancho kind of get you, to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, it's desert out here, so there's not, a ton of trouble to really get into, but grew up playing baseball, since I was 3, and kind of just always stuck with it. And we got really close with a bunch of baseball teammates and families, and so going from t-ball, we kept playing together as teams, and making new friends and teammates, and just kind of building off of that until eventually you get to high school, and then you start playing for your high school team, and then you go from there.
Yeah. Things that you take to the mound, right? Experiences, thoughts, past successes, and things like that. Is there anything that you, maybe from high school, that you still kind of do or have that you incorporate into your work on the mound?
Just committing to every pitch. You never know when you're not going to be able to throw a baseball again, and so making sure you just take advantage of every opportunity, and you give it all you got. That's the best you can do. If you give up a home run or a hit, at least make it on giving everything you got to that pitch. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is, of course, still in high school. I always wonder the process of high schools in this area, right? You guys are basically free agents coming out of middle school. You can go wherever.
I don't know.
I
think it's districts. It's based off of where you live, roughly.
Okay, so you couldn't have gone to Rio Rancho, or you could have?
No, I don't think I could have gone to Rio Rancho.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If we moved into a slightly different district, over a couple miles, I think I could have. Mm-hmm. I know there's some that get to pick, but I was in Cleveland district the whole time.
Okay, so you were in the heart of it, so you couldn't. Mm-hmm. Okay, I always wonder that, because my understanding was before you get to high school, you kind of get, you can get a feel for it. I'm going to play football, so I'm going to go play at this college or at this high school, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's not the case.
No, not really. So
okay.
It's districts. Cleveland obviously opened up in 2010. Mm-hmm. So we were living at our current house before it opened up. So, but it was opened well before I was going into high school. So it was kind of just let's just go to Cleveland. That's the district I'm in.
Okay. Yeah. How did ABA? How did you get introduced to ABA?
So I was playing with the New Mexico Wolves with Sean Reed. Shout out to him. Love that guy. He helped bring my love back for baseball. But I had arm surgery, and through Sean, he introduced me into plyo balls and drive line routines and stuff to strengthen my arm up again, so I didn't have surgery. And we had a kid on the team named Stuart Smith. He came into ABA and worked with Campos for a power arm program session. For the whole program, and he would come to practice every day, just telling us how much he loved it. And Reed was hey, I think you should go do this if this interests you. Go train there. And I was all right, let's do it. Let's go train. And so came in to train with Campos, and just fell in love. I saw so much improvement, and I've learned a lot for throwing and pitching, and it skyrocketed from there. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I got introduced here, and been coming back ever since.
Yeah.
Love the guys here, and, Campos is awesome. He's a very knowledgeable guy, and, love him. Love the guy.
Yeah. How involved is, because I had experience. I played for him. I know how deep he gets into baseball, and he's just a great dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Easy to be around.
Awesome.
How involved is he with you now in your career?
So he's still pretty heavily involved. Obviously during season, he kind of lets me do my thing and, work with the coaches, wherever I'm at. But, he's always available. So, if I shoot him a text hey, something feels off, or, what do have you noticing anything in my, pitching mechanics or anything? He's always down to take a look and get back to me. And then, in the off season, we're here grinding every day. He comes in with us and, he's here to help whenever. So, I would say he's pretty involved for sure.
You guys do, every outing, are you on film? For the most part?
So I wouldn't necessarily say film, but we definitely, at least with the Blue Jays, we would get post-game reports. And so we'd get them the same day that we pitched, and so we could look them over that night and the next morning, and then we'd come in and we'd talk with our pitching coaches, like, what were you feeling? What'd you see? Like, what do you think of the pitching reports? And kind of giving them your perspective of looking at everything now that you've had a chance to kind of step back from the motions of whatever happened and realistically looking at it like, oh, I got, 10 outs, but none of my pitches were executed. It's like, great result, not the process. What can we do to adjust it? Or you got barreled, but you're making your pitches. So, how can we help you not get barreled? And so, we'd take that, go in and talk to them, and they would, tell us what they see from a coaching standpoint and, a little bit more in depth of, a little more, I shouldn't say thoughtfulness, but just a different perspective of, how can we go about, being better the next time.
There's a lot of variables that go into baseball.
Oh, so many.
You could be the best player on the field at any given time and get raked.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so when you talk about pitcher reports, is it like a few sheets or an email of data or?
Yeah. So we get, I probably shouldn't talk a whole lot about.
Oh
it
yeah, no.
the orgs don't.
Whatever you want to talk about.
But, we get like this report. It just kind of. Anybody can see it, but, like where your pitches were, kind of what pitches you threw. And then, we dive a little deeper into, hard hits, swing and misses, your average, breakage on pitches and movement, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What pitches were strikes that weren't called, what pitches weren't strikes but were called strikes, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sure.
And so we kind of just break that all down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. It goes so much further than just the game anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much now. It's crazy the amount of technology, and we have people at our facility just working on algorithms and just like looking at so much data and like coming up with ways to make players better, and like that's all they do, and it's like wow, like that's intense.
For sure. So moving from high school to college, you ended up Division I, playing for the Lobos, but before that, you went the JUCO route, right?
So I went to an NAIA first.
Oh,
actually.
okay,
yeah.
NAIA, okay.
Yeah, so I went to an NAIA for a year and a half because out of high school, I knew what I wanted to do career-wise, like schooling. So I wanted to do engineering.
Yeah. Okay, I noticed that. That's
Riddle
cool.
was a great engineering school, and baseball-wise, I wasn't sure. I knew I still wanted to play, but I didn't truly realized, like, I had dreams of playing professional, but it was like kind of playing it safe almost, of like,
sure,
hey,
trying to stay like realistic in a way.
Yeah,
okay.
like, you're not gonna be able to play baseball forever, so
right.
go get a degree and play baseball, at the same time. And so I went and did that, and dream school for academics. It was awesome.
Really?
And, yeah, but playing baseball at the college level, it sparked that reignition of like, I want to take this as far as I can. So like, you'll always have school to fall back onto, but go pursue baseball as long as you can. And so that's what I ended up doing. I went to a JUCO to kind of fulfill that dream, and then from there to UNM, and then from UNM to, the Blue Jays. So
yeah, and that's a great journey too, because like you said, just getting in it academically and then going, you know what, I love this sport. Like I definitely love this sport.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so like when you like what made you decide to get into engineering to begin with?
I always liked knowing how things worked.
Sure.
So I like taking things apart, rebuilding them, and kind of just tinkering around with, just things here and there, and just kind of understanding the mechanisms of how they worked. And my parents were like, well, why don't you think of like doing engineering? Well, and so I took a physics class in high school. It was really hard, but I liked it a lot. And it was like, yeah, that's cool. What engineering is. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to do, engineering.
Well, and so of course I get into your social medias and stuff, looking back and just kind of learning more about you. And I had noticed that, you've got your baseball photos, and then you've also got your engineering photos with, classmates and stuff like that. We talked about it. Like it's almost like if you have almost like two separate friend groups, two separate lives. Like, is it kind of nice to go, you know what, I gotta, at least at that level, and at UNM, right? You did it at UNM, just to be able to go like, okay, I love my teammates, but I kind of get a break and get to go to this as well.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because they blend together at times, a lot of times, but also it's kind of nice, like you go and, you pitch and you have a bad outing. It's like, damn, you're a little down because it's like, nobody likes having a bad outing. So it's like you can go and do your engineering stuff and it's like, you find some joy in it and it's like, hey, baseball's not that bad, like bad outing, but, life's great.
It's not that serious sometimes,
engineering's kicking your ass with all the classes and the, exams and it's like, geez. And then it's like, hey, I get to go to baseball practice.
Right.
Or I get to go play a baseball game later today. Like, sweet. Like,
they
let's
offset
get this
each
work
other.
done. Yeah. Like, they offset each other and it was nice. It was a lot of work, but it was nice.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so tell me about this. It's kind of an off note, but I saw that you were like shooting off rockets and stuff. You guys got to do some cool stuff like that at UNM?
Yeah, we got to do some cool stuff. We got to do some high-powered rocketry. That big rocket you saw was probably my senior project I did. And
so you built it top to bottom?
Yeah, we built it. We had a group of 9 people that we worked on building it for a year, and we launched it over this past summer, and yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome building that.
How high did it go? Can you measure that? Did you measure?
Yeah, so it went 9,300 something feet.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's solid. Yeah, that's really, so that year paid off, I guess, huh?
Yeah. We
all for
did
that
pretty
moment.
Good. Yeah.
So what was your experience like playing Division I? You go from NAIA, and then from there, did you go straight to
No, I went from there to JUCO.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from JUCO to UNM, so Division I. Yeah.
Okay. So then, what was it like playing for Todd Brown and with the Lobos?
I had a lot of failure. I didn't have a great career at UNM, so I had a lot of failure, and I had to do a lot of learning. And so I would say I grew a lot as a person and a baseball player. At UNM, I really discovered my faith in Christ and the Lord, and so that was a big moment. But I grew a lot as a person at my time at UNM, and kind of learned what it means to be a pitcher trying to push for the next level, and the devotion it takes to chase that dream.
Yeah. So how did that, like, you said discovery for the most part? Yeah. How did that help you in terms of keeping like a level head, seeing the bigger picture and stuff like that? Yeah.
So after discovering my faith, like looking back that God loves you no matter what, and that we are blessed to play a kid's game at the end of the day. Like, it's still just a game, and the dream is you get to play and make some money from it, but at the end of the day, you get to go out there and you're doing something you love, day in and day out, and that's all you can really ask for, is doing something you love and can devote all yourself to and enjoy the whole time. And I think that really helped me understand that notion and be grateful for the opportunities and the blessings I have.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's a great way to look at it for everybody, right? As kids and everything, because sometimes we almost like take it too seriously and make it your whole life, make it your whole personality, right?
Been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me about the JUCO experience for you.
So my JUCO experience is probably going to be a little different than most other JUCO guys, simply because I was not there in the fall. So
really?
I didn't have to go through the crazy grind that a lot of them went through in the fall, of all day practices and these super long games and these just really hard practices. But this season it was awesome. It was a great spot. Love Coach Hawk. It was awesome. Like, JUCO's kind of in a sense, almost like professional baseball, like the minor leagues, where it's like you're there for baseball. Like, you're doing school on the side to, get the degree and help you, keep playing baseball longer if, you can't get drafted out of, JUCO. But, you wake up 6 a.m., you're going for 6 a.m. weights, and then you get back to your apartment, you eat a meal, and then you got practice at noon. And it's like, you know, you go and like the grind's baseball, and it's like you get a taste of what it is to, you know, baseball becomes your whole day pretty much. And so it was a lot of fun though, getting to do that, and being around all the guys there. It was awesome because we had a lot of New Mexico guys there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we had like Matt Cornelius and you know, Matt Romero. So we had a bunch of we had a bunch of New Mexico guys who were there, and so, you know, we built a great team. So it was a lot of fun.
Was JUCO maybe one of the more family oriented style, because you guys are like kind of there depending on each other to push through, right?
We were always at the field together. You know, almost all of us lived at the same apartments, like, you know, above each other, right next to each other. So, you know, we were always in each other's rooms hanging out. We'd have poker nights in our apartment every night.
That's awesome.
So it was fun though, just going and hanging out in the living room, you know, dealing some cards, you know, just getting to rip some poker with all the guys, and, you know, really just bonding. It was awesome.
So you got a little bit of almost like a pro taste then at that time, because the tough bus trips and the travel and things like that.
Busting all day.
Yeah.
And I would say, definitely. I got a little bit of a taste of it without realizing I was getting a taste of what it was like. Yeah.
And then so you go from that to we fly everywhere for the UNM, right?
Yeah. You flew pretty much everywhere unless it was like 6 hours. So we bussed, I think, to Tarleton and Air Force, and we bussed to Arizona, like Phoenix, but you flew everywhere else. So,
which is nice.
So
I nerd out on gear. I asked Jacob about his gear as well. I wanted to know, like, what are some of the gear items that you swear by, like top to bottom, you know, things that you rely on or pick?
Man. So I've grown out my hair a lot, so I need a headband now. So that's a headband's a necessity for sure.
Okay. Like what are we talking? Like a Bryce Harper style thick up top?
It's a pretty thick up top, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then right now I've been using my Wilson glove from UNM that we got. I'm still using that. I like Wilson a lot.
What is it though? Are you A2K, A2000?
I like the A2Ks, but we got A2000,
okay.
So that's what I'm using right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then everybody loves the Nike fitted pants. Who doesn't like nice fitted pants?
Yeah.
Those are great.
So did they take your measurements and stuff to get them, or is it just like sizes?
No, not. So they have a lot of variety of pants, and so like if I was there at the beginning of the season, I would have been able to probably get some pants that fit me. But after that, they go through so many pants. It's kind of like you kind of have to just go try them on and find which one fits you best.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But they have a lot, so you do usually find a pair that fits you pretty well. Yeah. Big leather belt guy. Leather belt guy. I can't do
That's the pro feel.
Yeah, I have to do leather belt because when I pitch and I rotate, the normal belts would come loose, and so my belt would be loose and my pants would be loose now, and I don't like having loose pants. I like them being snug and, you know, not moving around a whole bunch. So big leather belt guy now. Yeah.
Wow, that's like something I feel like that is super number one underrated in terms of like the necessity, and number two just like not thought of, you know, just like nobody does think about it.
Because it's like you get this, everybody gives you a standard belt.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was at the complex, great. And then I got called up to Dunedin and I was like, I need a leather belt. Like I can't, like if I'm actually.
So you had it at here in New Mexico?
Yeah, I had a red one. I had a nice red one for UNM, and then I didn't take it with me because, you know, Vancouver's really the only one that wears red. So I left it at home, and so got to the complex and stuff, and they gave us the normal blue one, and I got to Dunedin, and they wear a bunch of that royal blue, and so I had to get a royal blue leather belt pretty quick.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then what about I guess in terms of unders up top, because I know that's a big part of pitching, right?
So I used to not be a big sleeves guy.
Okay.
I used to kind of dread wearing an undershirt underneath the jersey. I normally like just feeling just a jersey. But when it was cold out, I would wear 3/4 at UNM. So I'd like cut off the sleeves to like my elbow. 'cause like I
Scissors?
said, I don't. Yeah.
You got to,
Yeah,
right?
got to, right?
You can't just you
Nope.
can't make it look perfect either. It's got to look a little
gotta
bit.
have a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then going to Florida though, and the humidity and just how much I was sweating, I could not keep a grip on the ball with no sleeves or like with just normal like a t-shirt. So I started wearing long sleeves exclusively for whenever I throw a baseball.
Really?
Yep.
So you can dry them off? Or?
Yeah, it's just I wear the sleeves to keep the sweat from dripping down to my hand.
Gotcha.
So that way, when I go to the rosin or the like the dirt to kind of dry my hand off, it's not getting drenched immediately by more sweat from the rest of my arm. Yeah.
Sure.
So
okay.
big sleeves guy now.
That's a big little life hack that you have to live through to find out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, those first couple of weeks there, I was like, dude, I can't grip the ball. I was constantly like wiping and stuff.
Yeah.
And like wiping my shorts. And then when we started throwing bullpens, my pants would be soaked. And so I'd go to wipe and my hand would end up more wet than it was before. And I was like, I just can't throw the ball like this. Like I have no grip of it. And
when the only thing dry on you is your bill, it's not a good thing.
I wouldn't
and
even say
then
the bill was.
Yeah, I was gonna
dry.
say even then sometimes it's that's wild. Yeah. So what about? So I wanted to know a UNM memory. You went from UNM to pro ball.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be at least one solid memory. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a couple. Like I said, the first one is learning my faith. That was I would say is definitely the biggest one. But I got two others. So my junior year there, so my first year there, after we lost in our conference tournament, sitting at the hotel in the lobby with at that same night right before we were leaving out the next day, with all the guys just down there chit chatting, hanging out. Playing pool until 2 a.m, just kind of enjoying each other's company and just like looking back at everything we went through together and the season we had and, just realizing like, hey, like, you're not going to see some of these guys again, like, as much as you want to, like, they're going to start living their lives. And it's like, wow, like that was a lot of fun as much as it sucks that we lost, like, it was a lot of fun in season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's tough because, even growing up, we talked about it a little bit, but before high school, it's like, I'm never going to be in high school. Like that's so far away from now. And then high school comes and it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'll see my friends. You hear your parents saying, I haven't seen that guy in 12 years, And you're like, that sounds far-fetched.
No, I'm gonna make sure I reach out.
We're going to check in. Yeah. Never happens.
Nope. You get to college and it's
you're
so busy.
So those moments, like you said, I mean, that's a really good takeaway because who remembers those moments? You're like, I don't remember the last time I talked to that guy, So, and then what was your third one?
So my third one, this past year, me, Akili Karras, Ty Cunningham, and Jack Messmore, whenever we would go on road trips, Jack Messmore, love him, he would drag us out somewhere to go look at something in whatever city we're in to go check something out, and it was awesome.
I'm so
important. Glad
he
dragged us out and got us to go out and do some things because we were in Las Vegas, and everybody likes to go to the Strip, so we went and walked the Strip. And then he ended up taking us. We got an Uber down to like this little church where his parents got married because it was, I think it was like a church where they have like a Elvis Presley pastor.
Oh, of course.
I think so. We went out and checked it. Yeah, and so he was showing us that.
That's
and
so cool.
We walked around some of the other stuff. I think that was in Nevada or in Reno actually. It was in Reno is where that church was, but. So like he took us out and we would go do stuff like that.
That's cool.
It was a lot of fun going out and exploring around the cities with them.
Yeah. You, I mean, just what's cool about D1 is that you get the freedom. Like, at most programs, you get the freedom when it's like, hey, we're done for today. Work's done. Games tomorrow, be in your bed, whatever that looks like, or after games. You get to go and explore if you want to, but you have to take it upon yourself, right, to do those things.
Yeah.
I feel like I was the guy that you're talking about, like taking people. I remember a story. We went and played in Hawaii, right? And so it's like, of course, you're going to go and enjoy all that stuff. There was a guy on my team. He went out the first night. He like enjoyed the beach. We did this whole thing, right? We won 0 games there, by the way. We did this, and then after that, he was like, no, I experienced Hawaii. I'm good. He stayed in the hotel room every hour outside of game time and baseball.
Wow.
the rest of the time. You get to go to Hawaii for free, and that's what you do. I literally am still disappointed in this guy. I was like, dude, come on, let's go. Nope, didn't want to. Nope. But it's wild. Nope. But yes, the experiences are what make like your memories so much more worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely worth it. Yeah.
What is the relationship with current pros in UNM? Right now, you're a pro. Do you still keep in contact?
So the only guy that I've actually like talked to that's in pros is Isaac Gallegos. And I haven't seen him in a while. But you know, he would come show up once in a while, and you know, I would talk with him quite a bit. And he would come train here at ABA. I think he moved. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't, you know, caught up with him. But yeah, so he's really the only one that pro wise that I've really talked to from UNM.
Yeah. Okay. But when you were at the school, did pros ever come back and just kind of train or say what's up or anything like that?
Just Gallegos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
for the most part him.
Yeah, it was just Gallegos that I can really think of. We had a banquet. We had Jordan Pacheco come and speak
cool.
it was cool. Speak at a banquet. But that was really about it. Like I haven't seen like Justin Slayton or Garver at all. They haven't come up. I mean, they're obviously going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, they're pretty busy.
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, I haven't really seen anybody else, you know, kind of pull up.
Yeah. So we talked about your engineering and what that was like to make that decision and stuff. But you know, there's kids out there right now playing high school ball that, you know, grades aren't great, and but you found a way to find that balance. What did you do? Like, what was it that helped you make lists? You make priorities? Like, what did you do to make that? Because that's got to be tough.
Yeah, it was a lot of late nights, a lot of homework, and staying up late, waking up early. You kind of just do it. You know, you tell yourself like, hey, like this is what I want to do, like, and I know it's kind of like what it looks like, and then, you know, those are what you have to do it. So you kind of just do it. So it's like, I'm gonna miss weights because I got class. You know, I have to have a class at a certain, you know, time of the day, and weights is during that time. It's like, all right, I gotta wake up early and go get weights in at, you know, 7 before I go into class in the morning. And then it's like, you gotta rush from class to practice, and then, you know, you get to practice, get your stuff done, and then it's like, hey, I gotta go back to class. So you know, you just kind of just do it. You know, you learn to just love that. You know, you get to
constant.
Yeah, you get to go to school and you get to play baseball. So you kind of you learn to just, you know, it is what it is. You know, you're gonna do what it takes to get it done, to keep playing, and you know, stay.
I think you're a better adult for it too, right? Like you're now okay with things that are tough. You can embrace that more.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know, this sucked today.
Yeah.
I got it again tomorrow.
Exactly. Same time tomorrow.
Yep, same time tomorrow.
All right, so I always am like curious about things like this, but hitting a batter, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that came into play in the World Series, one of the greatest we've seen, your team in the World Series, right? Was a guy sticking his hand out, getting hit. Hey, that doesn't count. Let's run it back. He gets hit again.
Yeah.
And there might not. I don't think there was intention there on the second one. But have you ever, or what's your stance, I guess, on intentional or hitting guys?
I used to be heavily against it.
Okay.
There's a time and place.
I love this answer already.
There's a time and place. You know, if you got a guy on the other team, you know, who's, you know, not being a good, you know, person, and, you know, he's, you know, intentionally trying to hurt, you know, other guys, you know, a good little, you know, fastball to the legs or, you know, the lower back to get him back in line, I say is totally a good response. And it's like, hey, dude, like, you need to chill out.
Right. Just a message sender.
Yeah. And it's really, you know, about it. And then, you know, as far as like the home runs or like pimping the home runs and stuff, like, I don't like when guys do that. It's like, you made a bad pitch or he put a great swing on it. Like, it's his job. Your job's to make good pitches. You didn't do it. Like,
yeah, you got to wear it.
Yeah, you got to wear it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to go and, you know, celebrate, you know, striking out the side or, you know, striking out a guy to end an inning, and you're going to like have a little celebration or, you know, get fired up for it. Like, you can't be mad when a hitter gets, you know, fired up that he just hit a home run, which is extremely hard to do. Like, of course he's going to be excited. Like, you know, it is what it is. Strike him out next time.
Right. No,
yeah.
and I think it personally, I think it elevates the game a little bit more, makes the fans more excited, which of course goes into your pocket eventually. You know what I mean? So you got to embrace it. But I do love the topic of, you know, every pitcher's different. I've talked to guys that are like, no, I go strike them out next time. I'm like, well, yeah, but you can also hit, you know, or whatever that might look like. But I like the idea of like you're protecting your guys.
Yeah. And, you know, I haven't had to do it really ever. You know, a lot of guys, especially for us growing up, you know, we were kind of taught to be, you know, like that's not a part of the game as much anymore. And so, you know, you don't see it a whole lot from, you know, at least us growing up, you know, we didn't see it a whole lot. So I haven't had to do it, and hopefully I don't have to, but you know, it's there. It's like, hey, if this guy's gonna, you know, try to hurt your guys, like, you know, those are your guys, like those are your brothers, you're there with them, you know, 10 hours a day for 7 days a week.
Right.
And so it's like, you know, that's your family that they're going after. So you better protect your family. You know?
I agree. You might introduce a fastball to some ribs.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. You signed free agent to the Blue Jays in July of this year, so it's still pretty fresh, right? Ink's still drying, which is cool. How did the free agent route go? Like, what is the communication between you and the team?
Like doing the signing or the actual signing. So I had an advisor. And essentially, we talked. It was like the 7th round of day 2, and he's like, "Hey, like, you know, how does this sound? You know, in the 10th round, you know, the Blue Jays are thinking." And I was like, "Yeah, like, let's do it." And he's like, "All right." 10th round came and went. You know, they didn't call me. I didn't get that call. And so we come and we're in the 20th round. We're in the last round. It's like right before their pick, and like their pick hadn't even happened. And my advisor calls me and he goes, "Hey, same offer, but free agent. Like, do you want to take it?" And I was like, yes. And so, but by the time I got off the phone, their 20th pick had came and gone. And then literally 30 seconds after I got off the phone with my advisor, now agent, I got a call from the Blue Jays area scout I'd been talking to. And he's like, "Hey, congrats." And I was like, what? Like, whoa. Like, I was kind of stunned. I was lost for words. I was like, it's like he like what?
It's been what do we do? What am I doing?
30 what? Yeah, it was. And once I
that's awesome.
kind of realized it was, you know, me and my family were like, holy shit, like it actually happened. Like, you know, you're a Toronto Blue Jays player now. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, that just so, like that.
Yeah. Yep. So
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting, because I've heard of things, and of course, you know, you hear all the different stories. Like, you know, they wanted to draft me in this round, but then they offered me better in the later round because I said no, or whatever that was like. But so you still got the same deal that you were going to get in the 10th round.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you like? What goes into that? Did they tell you, okay, well, next time, or it was 10th, and then you didn't hear until?
Yeah, no, it was.
Okay.
I got my call from my advisor or agent, and he was like, "Hey, here's the offer. They're thinking of the 10th round," and I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "All right, cool. I'll let them know." And then, you know, I literally didn't hear anything until my agent called me back and was like, "Hey, same offer, free agent. Like, yeah, like let's do it." And I was like, "Yep."
Cool. Yep. So was there like ever a moment of, there's had to be a moment of uncertainty there though?
Yeah.
After the 10th round came.
Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for the 10th round, and it came and went, and I was like, oh man, like,
are they lying to me?
It happened.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, a lot of crazy things happen in the draft. So it was like, all right, well, you know, it didn't happen, you know, like, you know, just keep watching, keep an eye out. And, you know, we got to the 20th round, and I still hadn't heard anymore. So I was definitely a little, you know, not like mad, but I was just kind of like, man, like, I really hope like I get a chance to, like, like, you know, I really hope I get an opportunity to, but it, you know, it looks like, you know, the opportunities are kind of running out, you know?
Sure.
And so getting that phone call, it was like, yeah, like if like this is my opportunity, like, let's do it. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's do it.
So this was incredible to watch this year. Was it the best World Series ever?
Yeah, it's the best World Series I've ever watched.
Sure.
It was awesome. It was, I mean, an 18 inning game.
Right.
And then it goes all the way to game 7, tied game, goes into extras, and every other game was a great pitching duel pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, you still had some good hits though, some good scoring. Game 7, the Dodgers roll out all 4 of their starters. What?
Right.
Yamamoto pitched the previous day, and you're throwing him back out there to, close this game off? Like, what the heck?
So crazy.
Yeah,
so
it was awesome.
A fight.
Yeah.
I mean, every single thing that could have happened.
What?
A debatable call on the wedged ball.
Yeah.
I mean, just everything.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
just chaos every game. It was. I would say it was I would say it's the best World Series I've ever seen.
Yeah. It was almost scripted. Because it was like, you always have to have a story. So here's Trey Savage, if I'm saying that right, who just came from single A. You know what I mean? It's like we gotta always have that like story that just doesn't make sense, and that was, and he was game 1 starter. What?
Yeah, game 1 starter. What?
He killed. Yeah, that was cool.
So,
awesome. So what adjustments have you made at the pro level so far?
So I would say the biggest thing that I've done is truly understanding like what kind of a pitcher you are. I know I talked about like understanding, who I am and like what it takes to, be successful. And I would say refining that even more. And, for me personally, my fastball command, like that was the biggest thing like that we talked about working on, and is owning your fastball, because you need at least one pitch that you can throw for a strike all the time. And if you can own the fastball and you can just work on commanding that single pitch, it'll trickle to your other ones, because you use the same principles to control the fastball, to control the other ones. But focusing on one pitch just lets you really dial in on, what is it like to truly command a pitch, and then you just kind of take those same principles and use it for your other pitches. And
wow.
And I don't mean like, oh, you're going side to side, you're constantly trying to hit, guys hit here, up and down. Like, for me, the fastball command was, how do I hit him in the same spot every single time? And so I would throw it, I would pick a location on him, and, where I'm a big start the ball where you want it to start, and then you let it end up somewhere. And then based off of where it ends up is for me how I would adjust my sight. So I'd always pretty much want the ball to end up at his, my catch partner's left hip. And so I would kind of figure out where I need to put my visuals to think of starting this pitch to make it end up there. And so just really focusing on making it end at his hip every single time helped me a lot.
So there's no way we're beating you in like the spots. We're not beating you there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to that point where it's like, yeah, you're not gonna beat me. I'm gonna own that.
I love
I'm gonna
that.
spot up.
Yeah, and I've really never heard that concept of, maybe it's more common, but I just never have heard it, like making your one main pitch your center point for everything else to flow through, which is really, really genius.
It's almost counterintuitive, because it's like, oh, you have, these 2-3 other pitches. It's like, you should work on those too. And it's like, of course you do. You still throw them, you mess with the pitch grips and everything like that. But, for me, what worked best was really focusing on the one pitch, really dialing in on that one, and, just truly understanding how to make that pitch really, really good, and then using what you learned from that with the other pitches.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Knowledge dropped.
Crazy. Right?
So how was it in your first stint? And I'm doing my best here. Dunedin. How was your first stint?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's dreams, man. It was literally dreams. It's easy waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning to go work out or go throw. It's easy showing up to the field every day and being there for 10 hours, knowing it. You got to get in, you got to do your throwing program, you got to go work out, and then you have to go sit there and watch a game. Like, it's a long day. It's tiring for sure, but it was awesome. I loved every second of it. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, the optimistic viewpoint, by the way, is like so like it's inspiring, right? But it's like it's refreshing, because it's so easy in today's day and age to just be like, long day, tired, it kind of stinks. Gotta work out. I'm tired. I still got to do it. It's you're fired up every day. It's freaking cool.
I've been there. I've been in those, deep
In the
dark
lulls,
places of like, hating baseball, on the verge of quitting and not wanting to play anymore. And, just baseball consumes every part of you. And so you have a bad performance or you're having a bad season. Like, you hate everything, it sucks waking up. It sucks going to practice. 'Cause it's like, I'm doing all this stuff just to, go out there and suck. So it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But having gone through that and then, kind of taking a step back that, hey, you're still playing baseball.
Things are good. Yeah.
It's pretty good. There's a whole lot worse you could be doing right now than getting to say you suck at playing baseball right now.
1000%.
So, enjoy it. And once you start enjoying what you do, your performance elevates with it because you're having fun, you're enjoying and soaking in every moment. And I think just reminding myself that hey, baseball's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You're supposed to enjoy it. Sure, it's a job for me now, but it's not really a job when you love it and it's your dream. It's
Great
awesome
job.
It's a phenomenal job.
Great job, by the way.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's awesome. And it's you love showing up to work every day. So, it's how can you not like showing up to play baseball every day?
Sure.
It's awesome. So, yeah.
I had a fellow player from the Blue Jays organization from New Mexico on the podcast a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Nolan Perry.
Yep.
You guys know each other. You've talked.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We played on our Connie Mack team together here at
okay.
ABA.
Okay.
That first year that ABA made the Connie Mack, he came and pitched. He pitched against the Midland Redskins, shoved, phenomenal pitcher.
Yeah.
I remember being in high school and hearing about him at Carlsbad, running it up to 98, and I was like, this kid's in high school still, what? That's insane. He got picked up by the Blue Jays, and I was like, that's awesome. And then, I got to meet him at the PDC rehabbing and stuff. I didn't get to see him a whole lot because, again, he was rehabbing.
Yeah.
So he was doing a bit different stuff than us new draft guys and whatnot. But, I definitely got to see him and talk to him and stuff. And so it was good to see him for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just there's such a network now in New Mexico, whereas I feel like 10 years ago it was the few and far between. There was great, and then it'd be a while or whatever. And there's still great athletes, but lots of guys coming out of New Mexico now and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
While you're here in Albuquerque, what's your focus?
Enjoy the off season. Come in here every day, work my ass off, hit the weight room hard, do what I'm supposed to, and kind of enjoy just being a normal person outside of baseball. Spend time with family, go hang out with friends. Cool. I got 2 online classes I'm taking right now to finish my degree, so doing that to finish that up, and just kind of enjoying being home and kind of getting a little refresher from the grind of a season that I'm about to have to have.
Yeah, tear up that plyo wall a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, so scenario of the episode, you get to steal a pitch from any pitcher, past or present. What pitch is it, and from who?
Okay.
And why, of course. But
all right, so I had some time to think about this before, but I got 2. Mariano Rivera's cutter, because
so filthy.
It was coming and you still couldn't hit it.
Yeah.
How can you not want that pitch?
Of course.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
And then recently that, people probably know, Trey Savage's splitter. It's disgusting. That is a disgusting pitch, sitting there watching it on TV, going and texting my coaches so when do I learn the splitter?
Right,
exactly. This is disgusting.
You've dealt with him this year.
Yeah. This is
That's
what?
Cool.
And they're like, yeah, that's his splitter.
We don't know what he's doing.
It's he's figured it out himself. It's kind of his pitch. We wish we taught him, but
yeah,
that's his his money pitch. And it was damn, I can tell that's a freaking
cool.
good pitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those 2 pitches.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you have those in your list of pitches, right? You have a splitter. I've heard it's really good.
I do have a splitter.
Yeah.
I like to think it's good. It's a little hard to control at times. As anybody who's done a splitter knows, splitters are not easy to control.
No.
So that's probably the biggest thing for me, is just trying to have a better control of throwing the splitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it sporadic in direction, or is it more of tumbling, or?
So I have more of a tumbling, dropping splitter. It usually drops a good amount, and then from time to time it'll have a little cut action to it, or it'll have a little change up action where it'll have some arm side run too.
Sure. Unpredictable, which is Sick.
Yeah. Not so much for the catcher.
Not all
but
the right, exactly. Let's get the first base sized. Yeah.
Yeah. Throwing a couple of splitters that have knuckled.
Oh, I bet.
Try to recreate that, try to replicate that. Really hard. Don't know how to do it just yet. But those can be disgusting when you throw a knuckle splitter that's it's 90 miles an hour and it's
just hope there's nobody. Yeah, and you just hope there's nobody on third base for a pass ball or something. Yeah, exactly. All right, so you are from here. We talked about your foundation in Rio Rancho and the Albuquerque area. What does New Mexico mean to you? What does representing New Mexico at the next level mean to you?
This is, New Mexico's home. A lot of people discount New Mexico for, especially baseball and, what they can produce. And I think, ABA and the guys here are really trying to turn that around and, go, hey, look, New Mexico's here to play baseball. Like we got
right
some
here
dudes.
on the map.
Yeah, we're like, put some respect on New Mexico and New Mexico products. Like, we're legit, you got Dylan Blomker, you got Everett Burdett, you have Zach K-Mats, you have, Jacob K-Mats, Aiden May, you have me, you have Perry, you have all these guys who, are doing some awesome things, going to some big colleges, and it's like, hey, look, like, we're here, like, we have these awesome facilities, we have these awesome coaches, like, we're here to play and, show what's up,
Yeah, you guys are representing it well, man. Dayne, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you.